One of the most polarizing heroes since his release has been Greystone. Aurora has kind of taken his place recently, but he has been very a hot topic of debate since his release, with his ultimate and everything kind of surrounding his design. He has been a very interesting hero, to say the least. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a hero building guide. I am Sylphin. We are going to start off with the numbers behind Greystone like always. So really not much to say with him. He is kind of classified as a melee carry, so he scales very well with power, and with his basic attack, you can actually see 0.7 is very high for a fighter, just underneath the lowest of the carries at 0.85 for somebody like Twin Blast. So he hits pretty damn hard. He starts out kind of mediocre at 58 damage, but the increase per level does increase to quite a bit. So in the late game, he does hurt. He does hurt quite a bit. With a fast attack speed like this, 1.2 seconds, he actually hits pretty nasty in the late game. So he is a pseudo carry, kind of. If you put a lot of power, attack speed, and crit on him, he hits like a truck. The rest of his abilities, you can see that actually his Q, his AoE ability, actually does a fairly good power scaling. Really quite high, just like a caster, but his assault negates, his leap, not so much. So while it does deal good damage, as a part of his rotation, it can deal quite a bit of damage as well. So you can definitely take that into account. His ultimate actually gets 0.5 power scaling, which is quite nice, as it does deal 340 damage in the late game. So all combined, if you manage to die around your enemy, you can actually deal quite a bit of damage. Now, the thing that with a carry though, you need that attack speed, and unfortunately he doesn't gain very much per level. 0.6 attack speed per hero level is really not that much. So we're going to see in the math that you do need quite a bit of attack speed on him, which suits him very well. He needs to stay close, and if you can hit somebody a lot while you are inside that range, it does really pay off. The rest of him, he's actually a fairly good bruiser. He doesn't have the most health like tanks, like Richter and Steel. He doesn't get that much health, but his ultimate, if he was to have the health like they do, that would be quite overpowered if you ask me. So basic armor, basic and ability armor is the same, because he does get a basic armor on his passive, and everything else is pretty much the same. So that's really kind of, guys, that's the numbers behind Greystone. When we plug in Greystone here in my optimal DPS calculator and set optimizer, we can see not really much of a surprise. Due to his low power scaling, he does really rely on attack speed and crit chance to give him that DPS boost. Because that power scaling is low, putting power on him, therefore, doesn't get much value out of it, so he needs to rely on crit chance to get that 250% bonus, which is obviously very valuable, and attack speed, since he doesn't gain very much per hero level, to bring up his DPS. At 50 CP total put into, or of value into power, attack speed, crit chance, 500 DPS! That is almost carry-like. That really is. 50 for Twin Blast and stuff is 600. So yeah, he is lacking, but for a fighter, that's damn good. Now, of course, if you bring it down to maybe a little bit of a Bruiser here at 40, you can see it drops fairly, quite substantially, but still, that's actually not bad. 374 indeed. So if we go down to 30, about a half attack, basic attack damage hero, and half tank, you can see 9, 9, and 12 into crit chance, which at this point you're going to probably just start going into power and attack speed. But as you can see, he very much likes crit chance and attack speed. You can see if we go down here to the optimal CP allocation, you can see that crit is very valuable. You can see that crit pulls ahead of power and attack speed very much, so he really does like crit chance. If you can get into crit chance earlier, that is very good. And as you can see, power and attack speed is pretty much a 1-to-1, with power just being a 1 above attack speed. So if you take a look down here, we can see that per hero level, this is exactly how much power you want at this hero level with this total CP available to you. So you can see that if we go at hero level 8 and 20, we have 7 CP into power. 8 and 20 is 2 into attack speed, and 8 and 20 is 7 into crit chance. However, this is including the crit bonus, so really that is not going to be all that valuable. So you basically have to go into power and attack speed first, and then switch over to crit, just like every other carry build if you are doing that for him. If you're going for a bruiser, that actually really does work. You kind of treat him as a carry until the mid game, and then you go into some armor, not health, because you will see in a moment. Now, if you are going to build your Greystone as a tank, or as a frontline bruiser, or just a carry with a little bit of armor, stuff like that, why I have this right here is that is how much CP of health you get with his ultimate at level 15. You haven't added any health, and this is how much CP's worth of health your ultimate gives to you. So, you know, 22 CP of health, that is a lot of value. If you want to consider his first life and his second life as total HP that you have to get through in order to kill a Greystone, then you can actually add that into this equation here. So here is a very nicely done math by Board Pyro. So shout out to him for having this fantastic post on the Epic Games forums. Also, shout out to Narender for the fantastic Google Docs that you did see before. Huge shout out to him. Fantastic community members. So if we are taking 22 CP into account here in the tank department, we can see that where we are as a melee tank here for 22 CP of health is right around here. Right around here. So if you are going to assume that you are going to take equal damage from both basic and abilities, that means that you're going to take 50% physical damage and 50% ability damage. This is the perfect amount of armor and health you need to get the most effective health from that damage output. So if we're at 22 points of health, we only need 1 CP of basic armor and 3 CP of ability armor. Now, you have to add onto these amounts in order to counter penetration. So basic armor, usually I recommend not much more than 20 CP of basic armor, which ends up only being 3 CP of basic armor. So really, this is 4 basic armor, and ability armor, I recommend casters going full 30 CP of ability armor, but since, you know, not everybody's dealing lots of damage with their abilities, I would say maybe 20 ability armor that is something that you should consider building in order to counteract pen, you know, just to be efficient. So 20 ability armor is quite a bit of CP of ability armor. 20 ability armor is indeed 5 CP's worth of ability armor. So you have to add that onto here. So we can see 8 ability armor and 4 basic armor in order to counteract penetration and have this amount to then give us the most effective health. You can see 4 basic armor and 8 ability armor. So with Greystone, you can just put armor on him, and you don't need that health because he gets that health through his ultimate. Now, if you really wanted to treat each of his lives as their own entity, then of course, you know, you don't consider his ultimate as part of his total HP, but why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? You want your ultimate to be a thing that helps your teammates, that helps you, etc., etc. So guys, in this build you are going to see I just build armor on him as it increases his health, his effective health, a ton. Now, here is my build, Bright Steel Sword of the Golden Altar. It's a mouthful, but I enjoy it. So, it is a it's basically a Bruiser build, but with some armor. Or it's a carry build with some armor. So I managed somehow to get a carry build with bright steel plate and golden veil in there. So very, very interesting. Now we go for the Archmagus because that power is going to help with the sustain that you get through the lifesteal in this build. I think because you're dealing some solid damage numbers, this power is just going to amplify that quite a bit. Now we also go for a health potion and healer token for the Offlane because that is where Greystone thrives, absolutely thrives. And and a health token just to make sure you get some sustain in there with a CP or 2. Now you start off the game with the health potion and healer token going into a silver spear. Preferably you would want to go into the silver spear for the health regen. 2 lesser heals on top of this health regen you get on the silver spear is phenomenal. It's ridiculous how much you can just stay out on the battlefield and just gain your health. You can farm, you can be that pseudo carry that just split pushes like a beast just because Greystone is so safe in doing so. It's fantastic. It's ridiculous the amount of sustain you can take from the silver spear. Or if you need those wards, which you probably don't, hopefully you don't, you can go into the Sage's ward first. You can either get the ward, don't upgrade it, and then go into the silver spear because that health regen falls off pretty quick, kind of, into the mid game, even though it is actually very effective. So silver spear into your Sage's ward, and then at that point you have a fair amount of power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 CP of power, and remember, power and attack speed are basically the same in terms of increasing your DPS. So you want to get this flash fire piston with a whole bunch of kinetics. That is sound in the math department. People forget the flash fire pistons in their fury builds. Don't forget a flash fire piston. After this flash fire piston, you go into the Madstone gem. Again, all of that attack now that you have this attack speed is very, very nice. Gives you that power and that attack speed as well. That is all of the 6-point cards, or 5 points in here, which is actually fairly easy to get. After that, which you're going to be hitting like an absolute beast, having sustain here from the lesser heal, it's really phenomenal. It feels really great. Little bit of health on Sage's ward, don't really notice that. But after that, you go into the Bright Steel Plate and the Golden Veil. 9-point cards, pretty easy to get. Only 9-point cards, and I do think 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so you get both of them. There's no trading for other cards for them, so it is 9-point cards. It does take a while, but the sustain is ridiculous. Again, with his ultimate, that's a lot of health you get back from your ultimate, and this armor pays off tremendously. Incredible value here on Greystone with this armor. Now it's up to you whether you go for barrier or the guard. I would maybe go for this armor first and then this barrier, just because you get the wound, you get a little bit more wound. At this point, you'll have 8, 16, and 24% crit chance, which is very, very lovely. That's a pretty solid amount to then go into your Sword of the Altar. This you do replace a card for, so it makes the transition to this 12-point card not bad. I would suggest replacing the Silver Spear for the Sword of the Altar, as you're kind of switching out sustain for sustain, and this lifesteal, because you got all of this armor, you're just hacking away. You are hacking away with great sustain. Now this lifesteal's kicking in because you have 24% crit chance. It's starting to get real. After the Sword of the Altar, you go into this Rift Mage's Scepter because you really want to amplify the value that you got out of the Sword of the Altar, and then you go into the Rift Mage's Scepter for these major wounds. At this point, you are going to be replacing this Madstone Gem. You want this attack speed. So replace this Madstone Gem with this Rift Mage's Scepter. Fill that out, and then go into your Wind Carver Blade that replaces your Flash Fire Piston. It looks like a lot of attack speed, but remember how Greystone, remember how his numbers work. Remember that math, remember that graph. Attack speed and crit, or attack speed and power increases his damage the same amount. Okay, they're basically kind of the same. They both increase his damage, period. So it looks like a lot of attack speed. Don't worry about it. It's good. He's just going to be an absolute beast. After that, you're swinging like a truck with good amount of crit, with lifesteal, with all of that armor and stuff to amplify your ultimate. It's a beast, and it's terrifying. It's terrifying. So in the early game, you are going to be in the offlane. That's where Greystone thrives. Start at this white camp here and get your make way. It is the AoE ability that you can see being used right here that provides a good amount of damage, as you saw in the numbers. Power scaling is okay. I get these 2 white camps usually because typically the enemy safe laners should be slow pushing the lane to build up a gigantic wave, so then when they push into your tower, there's just too many minions for you to deal with, and they get good damage. So as you can see, just standing here waiting for them to go. Here we are going to get our passive next. What this passive does is increase our health and increase our basic armor a fair amount here. Only at level 1, it doesn't do too much, but what it does is severely hinder the poke damage from the enemy ranger and the enemy support. Because all of their basic attacks are probably not going to be using abilities on you too much, it's pretty much all basic damage. So that armor is going to actually really help quite a bit in, you know, mitigating some of that damage. Now, as you can see here, I'm actually choosing to be fairly aggressive. The Decker here isn't really helping out her Sparrow too much, so I'm taking the opportunity to poke at her whenever she gets too close. As you can see there, she got pretty close, and I was like, hey, I can get quite a few basic attacks in before you run away from me, so I'm gonna do just that. Now, what else you are trying to do is you're just trying to stay back, play safe, let that healer token of yours give you health over time, and only run in there for last hits. If they are really coordinating on their stuns, like this Decker should be doing, you know, and it's dangerous to run in there because the Decker's gonna stun you and stuff like that, then don't. Just don't run in there. You play it safe. Don't die for this tier 1 tower. That is what they say. I choose to play fairly aggressive. I would like to keep my tower. I don't know why. I guess I'm just proud of it being alive, I guess. I don't know. But as you can see, I'm trying to jump in front of the Sparrow there so that she attacks me and then the tower attacks her. Little things like that helps you here in the offlane. And as you can see, we're just sitting here letting our passive really hinder the the damage that these heroes can do. And as you can see, I'm having fun. I'm in a good mood. And really, it's a pretty interesting life here in the offlane, as you're just trying to dodge their basic attacks, usually running circles around the minion wave. For some reason, really screws up the really screws up the enemy carries and the enemy support. So then the last ability that I tend to get is his leap, just because you hit level 3 pretty quick. To be honest with you, you hit level 3 pretty quick. So I just play it safe until that point, safer, and then once you get your leap, then you know you can leap out of there if needed and really try to play it safe. So here you're gonna see me go in there, get that last hit, dodge some basic attacks, and just kind of do my thing. Now, we've talked quite a bit about his ultimate, and right now I'm almost level 5. I'm going to go ham. I'm going to defend my tower against this lane wave and try to maybe not let her attack this tower. Now, she lands a fantastic piercing shot. I was stupid. I gave her my ultimate for free, basically, right there. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Don't let them take your ultimate just from you. Here I try to body block this Kwang that was really overextended. We do get the kill, and then we kind of piecemeal into this Sparrow, because I'm like, oh, I don't know if I don't have much health, I don't have my ultimate, I don't have much mana, I'm like, so we kind of play a ring around the rosy here. Always staying aware of the minimap so that you can rotate. If anything happens to your mid laner, you can kind of try to be there for any shenanigans like this. Another very important thing is this white camp here that is very close to your tier 1 tower. This is a great source for experience and card power that really, depending on who's jungling for you, they can definitely leave this camp for you, and you should definitely take it as much as possible. Now that we have our Silver Spear here with the 2 lesser heals, look at our health regen, 10.5. So I'm just going ham here, and you can take a lot of damage. So here I'm choosing to let the Sparrow kind of attack me, trying to attack her a little bit, because then the minions will go to me anyways. And I'm going to take this time to kind of really engage on her. Now, I use my leap to make sure that she doesn't kind of get that ultimate, because I had pushed her away. I didn't see this Decker unfortunately coming, as with my ultimate to slow her down, followed by the Decker stun. May have been able to get her there. My bad. Always keep your eye on the minimap so that you can coordinate stuff like that. Now take a look. 10.8 health regen. It's going up 300 and 400 health already. And as you can see, as long as I just stay here, I can regenerate this life, this first life, and still have my ultimate. That's why I love the Silver Spear here on Greystone. On any melee offlaner, it's just an absolute must. See here I choose to go a little bit ham, because I know that this is when they're gonna commit to the tower kill, and I'm like, maybe I can 1v1 them, but unfortunately I don't do as much damage as I like. My ultimate goes down, and this is where I have to choose whether to engage hard, and I don't. So as a Greystone, you can have a surprising amount of 1v1 potential, but there I didn't see it happen. That's kind of the thinking you need with Greystone. Including my ultimate and my extra life, can I surprise the enemy and actually kind of get them to commit to a fight that's gonna therefore be in my favor. Now, a very good tactic that works for Greystone is just straight up split pushing. Why does this work? Greystone has a fantastic sustain with his ultimate. He has a second life. He has a passive that increases his health and his armor, and he has a leap to get away from enemies. So here I'm like, oh my goodness, there's 3 of them. So I choose to leap away, and I'm not sure if they actually end up taking me. Oh yes, they do end up taking me down. But remember what is happening right here. It's not necessarily a free kill, because I'm taking 3 of the enemy team away from other lanes, and they get to either farm safely, like the Sparrow kind of is. I mean, she's up against a Sparrow, but at least this Howitzer and this Decker can put pressure on the mid lane. That is kind of the thinking here with Greystone and his split pushing, his pseudo carry nature. If you can farm, split push, draw enemies away from other things on the minimap, as long as your team can, coordinate to take advantage of that numbers advantage, or, the lack of presence that the enemy team has because you're pulling them away, it works actually really quite well. This is a fantastic strategy with Greystone for sure. Now, you have to, though, still be a part of fights. What I did here was I set the left lane. I set it so that it will push in our favor forever. It'll just push right to the tower. That means that we don't have to worry about the left lane, and I can be a part of the team fight. That's what happens. I go middle, and I make sure that I am part of that and be that front liner that Greystone is. You have to really know when to commit and when not to commit. So here, I see this Sparrow, she's within range, and I choose to commit. Fantastic way for Greystone to get some damage on the carry. I have my health regen, I have my ultimate. I know that if I can just spend time here, I can regenerate that health, while that Sparrow likely cannot. So a great thing to do is to let them get within your leap range, leap onto them, and make way and just hammer into them. Just hammer into them till they get out of melee range. You turn around, go back to your lane, go back to your minions, and just do that again. Usually people don't learn their lesson and just kind of keep coming close to you. You leap onto them, deal some damage. You go back, they come close to you, leap onto them, deal some damage. You have the sustain with that healer token and the Silver Spear. usually people don't. You can see here that we kind of taken care of the left lane, so now we are part of a team fight. I'm going after the low health targets, and I don't really care if they kill me because my ultimate provides utility for the team, and that's good. Here I make the wrong decision of leaping away. I probably should have just kept fighting and used my ultimate to secure the kill on the Sparrow, but luckily our team does do that for us anyways. My ultimate procs, not necessarily the best, but we do escape with our lives, so it doesn't really end up being all that bad. As you can see, trying to use your ultimate, trying to predict when when you're going to die, when the enemy is going to use it, and actually use that at appropriate times. Greystone, he's much more nuanced than people think, because he's basically just a hack and slash melee bruiser. So here we are trying to push this left lane, and I'm like, okay, I'm willing to sacrifice my ultimate, which is actually just, you can see it just got in right there. I was like, I need a few seconds for my ultimate, and there we go. I finish off this Sparrow, and I'm like, okay, I'm willing to use my ultimate, so I'm willing to commit as long as my team can commit. So I come in on this howitzer, but actually the Kwang thought he had his sword, and he teleported back away. So I was like, oh, you Kwang. So I'm like, hey, Kwang, you're in the boxing ring with me. I'm going to make sure that I kill him. Unfortunately, fantastic quenching scales. No follow-up from my friendly team as a howitzer, I think. Yeah, he had to leave with no mana, and do I get taken down? I don't think so. I end up taking down this Decker, who thought she had the support from her team, and I'm like, no. I'm going to finish you off and just get out of there. Greystone, as you can tell, he's nuanced. He's kind of a mind game, when to go in, when not to go in, when to commit, and let the enemy, proc your ultimate. Ugh. Here, I'm like, I don't have my ultimate. I don't have that defining feature of Greystone, so I'm like, fine, I'm gonna go in and help this this Sparrow, but unfortunately I can't secure the kill on Serath. Oh, did I? Oh, I did! Somehow I got the kill on Serath, and then I'm being the Juke Master, taking them to Juke City! And, oh, that's just fantastic. Juke, and then she finally gets me. Juking with Greystone is so much fun, as it's really annoying on an already really annoying hero. So at this point, I am split pushing in the left lane, but I kind of look around. I'm like, I have some wards. I'm going to put down a ward, and I know that there's 3 of the enemy team in the mid lane with my 2 friendlies, so I'm saying careful mid lane, retreat. I'm trying to get them to play defensive so that they don't necessarily commit to a bad engagement. At this time, I'm like, okay, so the right lane is safe. I'm going to actually pull enemies away and let my mid laners and my right laners collapse in on the mid lane, maybe push the mid lane a little bit, and draw enemies away. That's exactly what happens. The Kwang and the Sparrow here commit, and I'm like, whoa, Kwang, you're just gonna use your ultimate here on a full health ultimate Greystone. Okay, fine. So I'm like, I'll just retreat a little bit and let the mid lane kind of that mid lane scenario develop a bit. Maybe my friendly team can collapse, which you can actually see exactly is what happens. The Sparrow does take out, well, I think they kill this Decker. Yes, they do. Okay. Eventually, I think they kill this Decker, and I'm like, okay. Well, at this point, I should have gone in and helped. This is me being stupid. I should have gone in and helped with them because I pulled the Sparrow and the Kwang away, and I'm not sure why I'm choosing to come back and farm here, as I definitely should have gone in and helped my friendly team, as the advantage that I gave them by pulling the Kwang and the Sparrow away was given back to them. So I probably should have gone in. Everything worked out, which is good. But here again, I'm just going to continue to split push this lane and try to pull enemies away from my friendly team. And therefore, when that happens, then I can go and join my friendly team and create a numbers advantage. Great, Sylphin, that sounds fantastic, but does that ever work? Yes, it does. So right now, I'm like, Careful mid lane, because I can see on the minimap that it is it's a even numbers. It's 4v4 right now. I'm like, I have the Klong here. Fantastic. I'm gonna go mid lane now and create that numbers advantage. Unfortunately, our howitzer died, and I'm like, I'm like, ultimate ready, attack mid lane. I'm on my way. And here it is. Watch this unstoppable Greystone play. Leap in midair to finish off the Decker. I'm like, this is it, baby. Follow me. I'm like, attack mid lane. Here's a Sparrow. Body block her a little bit for some hits. Boom, she gets annihilated. I'm like, I'm gonna go ham. There's the, I overshoot that a little bit because we probably could have ended the Serath, but I'm like, nope, Serath, you're staying here, baby. Oh, hey, Gadget at half health. I don't care about this inhibitor. I have my armor, and I have my passive, and I have my ultimate. I'm going ham. I retreat here. Once I've secured that kill, I'm like, oh, my backline's getting attacked. I need to go and help. There's the Klong. Kaboom. He's down. All enemies are dead. And I'm like, at this point, let's push mid. I still have my ultimate. My Silver Spear is still active for that health regen. I'm assuming the Decker may or may not have Quenching Scales with that health and maybe a Circlet of Health. We gotta keep going. With the enemy dead for a majority of them for 24 seconds, we push here for the win. That is probably my best Greystone play, and it's a mind game. It's really a mind game. It's really situational, to be honest with you. Greystone, for being a hack and slash 2-button hero, really, well, 3-button hero, he is just something else. He really is. He takes time to get used to how he functions, kind of what the best way to play him. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at this, standing in the flames. Ooh. Awesome, check that out. So guys, there you go. There is my Greystone hero build and guide. Hopefully you guys really find something useful in it, as you know what, he's different. You can play him as a true carry with a ton of damage, not really much sustain besides his ultimate. You can play him as a tank with Satori Cloak and some other really great utility options, or you can play him like we have here and gone for some good carry options and some good bruiser options as well. There you guys go. He's different. He's pretty simple, but as long as you play him with some pretty good mind games in there, use your positioning for to pull people away to get numbers advantage. He's something else. I really enjoy him, and I hope you guys do too. Please like the video if you like it, dislike it, share it with the community. Of course, guys, subscribe. If you guys find this content helpful, or you simply enjoyed, I would really love to be able to help you out in the future. Till next time, like always, stay optimistic and positive.